Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good fellas, and welcome to the madness that is the Charlie Marx Show. I'm Charlie Marx, and my dog ignores me. If you're enjoying the Charlie Marx Show, then please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and follow the Charlie Marx Show. Also, please share, as sharing is daring. You can also leave me a comment or tell me what's bugging you in the world with the Devil's Advocate. I can also be spied upon by you visiting www.charliemarx.co.uk. So, recently I read in the papers that some wealthy people have been spending £2,000 plus in order to feed tigers. Now, my favourite animal in the entire world is a tiger, but sadly my landlord won't allow one in the flat. Anyway, aside from this being another instance of the haves being able to do something yet again that the have-nots cannot, it also provides a solution. The zoo will get the money from the rich person wanting to feed the tiger, and with a bit of luck the tiger will have a nice meal. Now, pending on the health and safety aspects, the tiger may also get dessert. Millionaire's shortcomings. Coming up on tonight's show, we have all the usual psychotic behaviour, plus some other stuff. But before all the insanity which is the Charlie Marx Show, it's time for Review of the Week. This week's Review of the Week is a car review. A car is a machine that has 4 wheels, costs an absolute fortune to run, is exceptionally unreliable, and will get you stupid tickets when parking in a car park for a minute over the allotted time. Coming up later in the show, Sir Percival Homosexual will no doubt have another story, but first, let's take a trip into the unknown for another weekly dose of the bizarre with Manfred the Psychic. Oh, I see. Sorry folks, but Manfred the Psychic has been unable to link up to us due to unforeseen circumstances. So, we now go over to get all the latest fake news from around the world and beyond with CM News. Good evening and welcome to CM News with me, Sophia Loren. We start tonight's news with the revelation that my smartphone turned out to be not so smart when it automatically sent a text to a woman I was chatting to on Facebook, as we have common interests. The incident happened only days after the so-called smartphone sent a sexist joke to a female colleague when it was supposed to go to a member of the crew. In other news, former royals Harry and Meghan have decided to start their own royal family club. The club will be sponsored by Netflix and have Harry as the king and Meghan being the master of all who serve under her. Rather than the audience being able to follow them year by year, they will be following their royal business in seasons, with a promised natural unrehearsed cliffhanger at the end of each singer. Corpse singer Michael Jackson was back in court this afternoon. The decaying pop star is fighting new allegations of sexual harassment brought against him by his former friend and one-time business manager Bubbles the Monkey. Bubbles McFadgen alleges that the singer was physically and emotionally taunting him with a banana. The case continues. Some disturbing news now, and viewers are advised to use discretion when listening to it. My wife has left me again due to an alleged relationship I am not having and texts that my smartphone sent not me. She has taken the children and moved in with the Sky technician Raoul, who was only supposed to be sorting out my faulty box. The parents of the children my wife has taken have asked that she return them tomorrow as they have school. And finally, a 6-month sentence has been delivered in court after a contract was broken between Mrs. Frida Forsyth of 62 Kinloch Place and tradesman Bob the Builder. When Mrs. Forsyth asked if Bob could fix her faulty roof, he said, "Yes, I can." But sadly, he managed to botch the entire job up. Bob is to spend 6 months in a high-security prison and to pay costs of $693,000. The defence lawyer for Mrs. Forsyth said that the next time that they asked if he could fix something, then Bob should have said, "No, I can't." And that was the latest headlines. This is Sophia Loren for CM News. Good night. Thank you, Sophia. More from the CM Newsroom next time. But now, my special guest. My guest this evening is a psychic that appears on this very programme. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the studio. I'm sorry, but we shall have to leave it right there. Join me next time when our guest of the show will be someone who doesn't proclaim mystical powers only to be held up by more unforeseen circumstances. So now, it's time to slip into your pyjamas, get your cosy blanket, throw another weasel in the fire and curl up on the sofa with a nice glass of wine as Sir Percival Homosexual reads this week's tale of excitement, The Psychic's Dilemma in Storytime.
Hello, children. Are you sitting comfortably hiding from the rent man? Then we'll begin. It would appear that I have not received the story I was going to read you about the psychic, as the man who said he would give it to me has left the house without it. Okay, here's a story I'm going to tell you instead. It's about this psychic who let everyone down, and it's called That's the Last Time I'm Going to Trust You with Anything, Manfred the Bloody Moron Part 2. Manfred was an idiot, as he once promised that he would hand me a story, but he didn't. The end.
And Sir Percival will be back next time if he ever gets his hands on Manfred in Storytime. But now, it's time for another roundup of moans and groans and things that go irk in the night with the Devil's Advocate. Here's a little thought to ponder. Should we bring back capital punishment? A harsh statement indeed, but think about it. What if we were to bring back burning at the stake during the winter months? Then we could toast the bad elements of society, and pensioners could all get together and interact with each other whilst keeping warm, and not having to die alone in their cold house trying to pay their bills. How about bringing back hanging? I'm sure there would be a very fast decrease of crime committed, especially by criminals. What a deterrent. Imagine the marketing. Be a crook and lose as you dangle from your noose. Okay, needs some work. But just think of the advantages. Prisons would free up until they're no longer required, and the cells could be turned into apartments, homes for the homeless. How about if you're caught stealing, you get your hands cut off like they do in more civilised countries? For fighting with weapons, you could get your feet cut off. I'm sure this would put teenagers off carrying knives when they realise the trainers they will never be able to wear. For sexual crimes, you could cut off their contact with the world. You see, this country is too soft. Courts have rules on what penalties they can and cannot hand out. But like me, I'm sure there are many of you out there that would want to save the taxpayer money by simply putting the killer in a room with the victim's family, just so they could have a quiet word. Crime costs this country millions and millions each year, and perhaps by eliminating the problem, by eliminating the perpetrator, then prices can come down, stopping those who have to steal to survive. Let's give it a try and see if it makes a difference. We could start by hanging people who hike up the bills every week in this country. Then that would leave those big buildings, you know, the ones, the Parliament buildings and all that. And then we could house the homeless. Thank you for watching the Charlie Marx Show, and remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, share and follow me on www.charliemarx.co.uk. You can also buy me a coffee or join the channel for more and so much more. So until next time, if you're not subscribed to the Charlie Marx Show, you could be sentenced to death.